Okay. Oh, it's hard to really share your deepest held truth. The truth that has shaped my life and made me the man that I am today. And that truth is that love, that true love, is real. That divine love, that love that you've known across lifetimes. That it's real. This video is something that means a lot to me. And I hope that I'm able to honor it in the way that it deserves to be. Because this love really is God's love. When I was first going through my awakening, I felt so much love, incredible love. And I started to learn about our quantum reality. I started to learn about consciousness. And I really wanted to get to the core, to the truth of who we are, of what God is, of what love is. I wanted to know how loving reality could be. And when I got to the truth of being the co-creator, co-creating with God, that's what we're all doing, is we're co-creating with God. And we do it by choice. It really is simple because the truth is so loving. And the wisdom is that the most loving realities that you can envision for yourself, they're real. They exist. And so early in my awakening journey, I committed to my healing, to healing my perception of reality, my perception of myself. I committed to becoming my highest self, to serving the highest good, to believing in and having faith in the most loving perspectives and realities that I could imagine for myself. And that was a few years ago. And at the time I was still married. But early in that awakening journey, I also just started to receive a lot of messages about twin flames. And I didn't know why, because I was married. But maybe a little over a year after my awakening journey began, my now ex-wife came to me and told me that she was, didn't want to be in the relationship anymore. And I was just working on my healing and all that stuff, and it wasn't really even on my radar to like get out of a relationship and start something new. But when I really checked in with my heart, it told me that it was good to end the relationship, that it was time. And so that's what we did. And it was very mutual. It was very amicable. We don't talk now, but we ended as friends, very good friends still. My phone is overheating a little bit. So, we decided to separate. When we separated, I started to look into the idea of twin flames again. Because I'm like, all right, if I'm not going to be with my ex anymore, then obviously there has to be a greater love out there for me. And because I was already committed to being my highest self, to knowing myself, that I was going to, that was the journey I was going to be on the rest of my life, I started to dream of what a partner would look like, what that love might look like. And I just started to connect with that energy, because what made sense to me in my heart, and something about me, is that I just always trust my heart more than anything else. Whatever my heart tells me is true and loving, that is my truth. And if I can find something more loving, then that becomes my truth. It's always whatever my heart says is true. That's what I trust, because that's God speaking to me. And the same is true for anyone else who is willing to have the courage to trust that. So, I was, we got separated and divorced and all that, and sold the house, got rid of all this stuff, and I moved back in with my family, and I didn't know what was next. I was just working at Domino's. I was doing my healing. I was learning more and more about God and consciousness and reality creation and energy and all these things, and I had dreams of being a speaker, a teacher, a healer, something, right? because this was my passion, was knowing myself, was knowing God, was knowing love, was understanding reality, understanding the healing journey. And my body has been through a deep healing journey on its own. And so I've been learning just so much about that, and I understand the healing process a lot now. But I didn't know what was next in love, and I had a lot of wounds and insecurities from my past when it came to love. And I still didn't really know how to believe in myself and love myself in a way that could welcome that kind of love into my life, the love that I dreamed of, the love that I believed in, that I had faith in. And so last year in March, I did a heroic dose of mushrooms on my own for the first time. And this really I experienced myself in love in a way that I never have before. And it expanded me so tremendously. It was an amazing initiation for me, and it really broke my mind's old, structured perception of reality, and even because I already understood that everything is consciousness, that anything is possible. I already had those beliefs, but I didn't have it as an embodied experience yet. And that experience with the mushrooms broke me open and broke my heart open in a beautiful way. And after that experience, and it was also a pretty terrifying experience for part of it, but still, love held me together. I didn't go into like some psychotic break or anything like that. I knew that I could trust the process. I knew that I could trust God. And so afterwards, after the ceremony and everything, I had so much gratitude for life. And I was just feeling very free, very liberated, very refreshed. And I loved myself in a way that I never had before. And less than a week after that experience, a woman came into Domino's that I was working at, and she was just like smiling at me and seemed to already know who I was, but I didn't know who she was. And it was, we had an interesting little interaction, and then she was gone after she got her order and stuff. And then a couple days after that, I was driving in the car, and she popped into my head again, and I started to get these crazy sensations in my body. And I asked God, is she my twin flame? And then I started to have these insane chills up and down my spine that I have never experienced before. They were incredible sensations, and so much love started to flood my chest and my body. And I had no idea who this person was. And it was so magical. And but it was like I was open to this type of experience. I was open to this type of magic that could happen, this type of incredible soul connection, this type of destined thing, because I had chosen my destiny. I had chosen that I'm going to live whatever my destiny is, whatever it is, because I didn't know what it was when I committed to it. I was just like, yeah, let's just do it. That's what I want to do. If I gotta be here and know who I am, then I'm gonna live a cool life. I think. I want to. and and so began a journey of learning how to connect telepathically, how to feel into and speak my truth and feel responses and all these things. And I didn't know if she's actually hearing me. I don't know if it's just my higher self relaying answers or confirmation for me on certain things. I don't know. I still don't know. But all I know is that what ensued was a very magical and beautiful experience of just so much love, of me really just getting these amazing real-time responses in my body, in my heart. And I trusted the wisdom that if I do have a person who I've lived lifetimes with, who is just my counterpart, my twin flame, my person, my best friend, my lover, my everything, then she's here already and my heart's already connected to her. And I trusted that. But I still had a lot of stuff inside me, a lot of wounds and a lot of old identities that could not believe in this, that didn't know how to believe that Brian was worthy of something that beautiful and that loving and that magical. Someone who loved like me. Someone who saw God in life like me. Someone who believed in infinite possibilities like I did. I didn't know how to believe that. I didn't know how to trust that. And so early in that journey last year, after she came into my life, I rose into this beautiful state of being where I had just so much love and energy flowing through me, but I didn't know what to do with it. And when she didn't come back into my life, I started to give more attention to the doubts and the insecurities and the fears, and thinking maybe I was making it all up. Maybe it wasn't true. But I still trusted my heart and I still trusted God. And so for a few months, nothing happened, and I was really just sort of in back and forth between fears and doubts and insecurities, and then also this love that was still there and still living inside me. Just, it was very sporadic, it was chaotic, it was uncomfortable. There were bouts with psychosis and things like that. More like observing psychosis, not really getting lost in it, but observing it, being the observer, and knowing that the mind is kind of spiraling and not sure how to keep believing in this, but also not feeling like it was right to let it go. But eventually, her social media just popped up on my feed one day, and I knew it was her. And my heart knew it was her right away. And a whole journey ensued. And I don't really want to share much of it because it was very painful. Because deep down I knew that I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't in a good state of mind. And I didn't know how to welcome that kind of love into my life still. But I committed with God that I was ready to embark on the journey to heal and become the man who could welcome that kind of love into his life. And so I committed to the death and rebirth that I needed to go through. And what I went through over the last year was probably the most challenging year of my life. But I'm really glad that I did it. Because I did die to myself so many times. And during the winter solstice in particular, I went through the deepest dark night I have ever experienced. And so much pain came out and was expressed and was felt and was healed because I didn't run away from it. And I just kept trusting God. And sure enough, this spring, I went through a rebirth ceremony. Again, journeying with mushrooms that time. And it was beautiful. And it was liberating. And today, I sit here as a new man. As a man who doesn't get lost in fear and distortion anymore. A man whose discernment of truth is with God. A man who believes in himself and loves himself in ways that I didn't know I could, I didn't know how to before. A man who has healed. And my body may still be going through healing because it went through a lot of pain and physical transformation throughout the last decade. And it's still healing, it's still recovering, but my perception is rooted in love now because I chose to stay committed to love. And that's really the foundation of who I am now. Is I'm just a man who dreams and believes in love, who knows love, who's remembered love. And that is my truth. That is my lived truth in every cell of my body. I know that this is a body that is made of love, made of God. I know that life is so much more loving than people realize. And that dreams are real. And dreams do come true, and real love is true. And even though I'm not in physical union with her yet, my heart just knows it's only a matter of time. Because the love never left. And that's how you know it's real. Because it transforms you. There's a butterfly flying right over my car multiple times right now. What's real doesn't go away. It stays. And the beauty of committing to love is that when you stay committed and you go through the pain and you go through your heart breaking over and over and over again, that saying that the heart breaking and cracking open is how the light gets out, right? Because it's all like trapped inside behind layers of wounding and trauma and mental blocks. When you actually allow yourself to surrender into that process, it breaks you open. And you realize that fear was never true. The doubts were never true. The insecurities were never true. The shame and the guilt and the resentment and the regret and all the things from your past that used to make you feel like love wasn't safe, or life wasn't safe, or God wasn't that loving, or life wasn't that loving, or that true love wasn't real. All of that it's false. Because that's the devil. The devil's just fear. Demons and all the scary things that people are afraid of, it's just fear. It's nothing to actually be afraid of. Reality is love, because God is love and God is reality. And when you're rooted in God, you're rooted in truth, you're rooted in love, divine love, committed to the highest good, committed to your highest good, committed to loving yourself. Love can't help but find you over and over and over again until you just believe it, until you just trust it again. And the beautiful thing of that is that if you're willing to go through it, that love will be with you the rest of your life, the rest of your journey. Because that's what awakening is. It's remembering love. All the other stuff is just details. It's just for fun. All the esoteric stuff, all the starseed stuff, all the everything, it's just for fun. Because love is all that's real. Love is all that mattered. Love is the only reason we're doing any of this. Love is the reason that God is dreaming of you right now. Because when you remember love, God gets to experience that through you. And the all gets to remember what it's like to remember love for the first time. And when you're willing to go through it, that's when you know that you're already living your dream life, because this is the dream. And if you have the courage to choose your own heart, to choose what really matters to you, which is always going to be love, in whatever form you feel that through you. Because that love is home. That love is safety. That love is what your soul truly craves, what your heart truly craves and desires, that your body aches for. It's that kind of love. And that's what I want to help people remember. To remember this kind of love. The love that doesn't give up. Love that doesn't quit. Love that believes in infinite possibilities. Love that knows heaven really is here and now. It's not somewhere you get to when you die. It's still here. It lives inside us when we're willing to have faith in it before we can feel it, before we can see it. That's what faith is for. To let your heart feel something beautiful and then to believe it, to trust it. Even when doubt and fears and old traumas say that it's not true, you have to stand up to them. And you have to surrender to God. And you have to trust. Trust the process. Trust that because you chose it, God is leading you through it. God is leading you back home to heaven on earth in your body. And when you get there, your reality will reflect it. Because you chose it. And because you have free will. And you have the free will to see things through that lens of fear, of doubt, of lack, of separation, of unworthiness. Or you have the choice to remember love, to commit to love, to let your body be purified, to let your mind be purified, to let your nervous system and your energy system be purified, so that you can love again, so that you can feel heaven on earth, so that you can be all that you came here to be, so that you can be free, and so that you can be free in love, because there is nothing better than that. Nothing. Okay. I did it. If you guys are interested in healing in this way, my Becoming the Dreamer course is a 9-week program in which it'll be a small group that I'll be leading weekly, and we'll be reprogramming our minds and our bodies and our hearts and our nervous systems to remember love, to remember God, to dream again, how to have a peaceful, abundant, loving dream. So reach out to me, or there'll be a link in the description. Do whatever you gotta do. All right? I love you guys. Thank you for watching.